Mm,
Okay.
tornado in Lake Geneva.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Terrible. So
Silence, everybody. I'll still be ready
Geneva.
for folks
What?
in. I was just thinking Talbot. There she is. All right, Talbot and Robert, Ajna.
Okay.
Yay. Good morning. Good morning. I've already silenced everybody, but we welcome you. Thank you for getting here. Ajna, Talbot, Robert, I guess. Happy 4th, everybody. Okay, here comes Beth.
You need to encourage people to get here a little earlier.
Mhm.
Okay, so this poem has a little history with us. About a year ago, year and a half ago, Linnell was leading a yoga class, and one of her yoginis got up and went to the bathroom and died on the way back. We just had one of the members of our Sangha go to a concert, and she left a friend of ours to go to the bathroom, and in the process had a stroke. They got her to the hospital. She passed during the night. And these are things that as we age are in our minds a lot. We live with our mortality on a daily basis. We were with Corinne in New York, and she said, when you hit 70, you have to make a decision of whether you want to live or whether you want to let yourself die.
No, I said you're in the third trimester. That's what I
Right.
said. When you hit 70, you're in the third trimester.
So it triggered that thought that we really have to make a conscious effort to be aware of our mortality, to respect it, and to learn to listen to our bodies. And this is a poem by Ellen Bass. And If You Knew is the title. I'll let Jacob come in.
Morning, Jacob, Bruce, Beth, Drew made it. Good morning.
What if you knew that you'd be the last to touch someone? If you were taking tickets, for example, at the theater, tearing them, giving them back the ragged stubs, you might take care to touch that palm, to brush your fingertips along the lifeline's crease. When a man pulls his wheeled suitcase too slowly through the airport, when the car in front of me doesn't signal, when the clerk at the pharmacy won't say thank you, I don't remember that they're going to die. A friend told me that she'd been with her aunt. They just had lunch, and the waiter, a young gay man with plum black eyes, joked as he served the coffee, kissed her aunt's powdered cheek when they left. And then they walked half a block and her aunt dropped dead on the sidewalk. How close does the dragon's spume have to come? How wide does the crack in heaven have to split? What would people look like if we could see them as they are? I don't know if I can say this, because this is how I see you all, as soaked in honey, stung and swollen, reckless and pinned against time. What if we could see each other through those eyes? And I love the allusion to soaked in honey. That's that ojas, the fluid that's released in our body when we have that sense of well-being. That's what we call the glow. When you just see that aura of health and beauty in people. What if that's what we saw? What if that's what we honored in our relations, knowing that this is a precious mortal person and this may be the last encounter they have? So I wanted Linnell to put up the evening gatha. We say this at the Zendo every evening before we go to our rooms. Let me respectfully remind you, life and death are of supreme importance. Time swiftly passes by and opportunity is lost. Each of us should strive to awaken. Awaken. Take heed. This night your days are diminished by one. Do not squander your life. Thank you. Do not squander your life. So as we're looking at this, we've been doing a series about staying awake and the levels when you're sitting on your cushion of being awake. And today we're getting at a fundamental one, and I didn't know how to get at it, but Linnell was the channel in the universe that brought it to me this week. And it's funny how that happens, right? You need a reading. I didn't even know this concept existed until I got into to this week. And it's from a guy who's working with, who is this? This is Tara Brock and Jack Cornfield, series of sessions that they've got. And it's about Vedan, Vedan. This will help for some of the people who are tying in. It talks about a class that's being taught. It said the first session opened with a question that reframes everything. What if mindfulness isn't just a stress reduction technique, but a complete map of the mind, 4 levels deep, that the Buddha laid out 2,500 years ago? The teacher introduced the first foundation of mindfulness, mindfulness of the body, and we've dwelt a lot on that because that's the foundation that everything else is built on. If you're aware of your body, if your body is in your present moment awareness, you're awake. The body's always in the present moment. And the significance of that is that the monkey mind stops when you enter the present moment. It has to be able to travel in the past and the future. And when we anchor it in the body or the breath, whatever those physical sensations are, then it can't be about its business of generating problems for us to consider. He explained it's the most present part of us, the one place that's always here, always now, always available as an anchor when the mind has wandered into its usual loops. The practice isn't to think about the body, it's to make direct contact with sensations moment to moment, to feel what's actually happening rather than telling ourselves a story about what we're experiencing. That's why I always say, if there are words involved, you're not quite there yet. If judgment is involved, you're not quite there yet. But when you're in that sense of almost absorption, not quite, but it's sensation meeting awareness in a continuous flow without interruption of thought or emotion, that's what we're laying the foundation. Because against that backdrop, even the subtlest shift, and we're going to begin today to talk about what is the first movement of suffering. Where do we catch it the earliest? So in the second section, the teacher introduced Vedana, Vedana. And I want you to remember this word because it's the word I was looking for. He says it's a Pali word that doesn't translate neatly, but it points to the basic feeling tone that underlies every moment of your experience. Listen to that. It's a feeling tone. It's a tone in the body. It's not a thought. It's not an emotion. It's a background awareness that's very subtle that you're not going to catch until the mind is quiet, okay? And then you'll begin to notice that you have that feeling tone. And it's when someone asks me, how are you? I realized that that's what I was trying to grasp at. What is the underlying tone of my being right now? And our brain categorizes it in 3 different ways: pleasant, neutral, and unpleasant, okay? It's actually the first part of the brain. that gets sorted way down here in the brainstem, that we begin to have this response of the body to what's coming in through our sensations. Before we name what's happening, before the story starts, there is a raw quality of how we're relating to our experience right now, okay? There's that raw sense, not word, not an emotion. The Buddha called Vedana the most crucial level of mindfulness practice, okay? Listen to that. So this is not something we can just brush over. This is not something I want you to just go, oh, I get that. I know what that is. No, you don't, okay? No, you don't. And it may take you a year or two to even really begin to sense it directly rather than to be a thought that you're trying to apply to what you're experiencing in your meditation. Huge difference between those two. It's something we want to have an awareness of all day long, because that's where all the struggle begins, is at this level of awareness. He said it's a chain of reactivity that either tightens or loosens. Where's my teaching aid? Okay. And you've heard me say that this is hell. Okay. Anytime we clench against the flow in our body, we're beginning to struggle and we're creating more hell for ourselves. When we can allow the experience to move through, even if it's unpleasant, or even if it's so pleasant that it wants to pull us into trying to have more of the experience, that dopamine thing. So here we are in our day, we go about it, experience is coming in, sensation, we're driving down the highway, everything's beautiful, cars are coming by, the trees are coming by, and his, what's his name, says in his book,
Michael Singer.
The singer on Untethered Soul, he said, all of a sudden a blue Mustang that looks like your girlfriend's highway, Mustang comes down the road with two people in the front seat. And all of a sudden, we constrict. And he says, then the next moment doesn't flow through us because we're stuck in the past trying to figure out, what did I just see? This is where we want to catch it. Because when we have that initial closing, it triggers a whole set of emotions, a whole set of traditional storylines, all the conditioned understandings you're flooded with traditional hormone reactions, physical reactions, which generate thoughts around them. But we also start the storyline, which is what life has given me as a tool to try and interpret what I just experienced. But what I really need to do first is to let go of the constriction before I can see. And this is what Bodhidharma meant when he said, first I see, then I act. This is why we take a pause. The minute I go from here, this is sukha, this is ease, this is moving through my day with ease. And then all of a sudden someone says something, I constrict, then I pause. And then I apply my techniques for getting back, what we call now, the term is regulated. I get myself regulated so I'm back in the flow. And then I understand, not with the conditioned mind, but with that beginner mind, all right? So let's do a little bit on Shenpa. This is a beautiful book. She's written two. One is Practicing Peace in Times of War. This is called Taking the Leap.
From Pema Chodron.
From Pema Chodron, Freeing Ourselves from Old Habits and Fears is the subtitle. And the thing I like about Pema is Pema writes Buddhism not at the level of scholarship, but at the level of what difference does it make when I leave the room? What can I apply in my life to ease my suffering? So this is her spin on Shenpa, which is that closing. It says there's a very useful teaching that allows us to take a closer look at this knee-jerk pattern of moving away from being present. And this is the teaching of Shenpa. Generally, the word Shenpa is translated as attachment, But this has always seemed too abstract for me, as it doesn't touch the magnitude of Shenpa or the effect it had. An alternate translation might be hooked, what it feels like to get hooked or stuck. Everyone likes to go to workshops on getting unstuck because it addresses such a common source of pain. Remember the poison ivy metaphor, our fundamental itch and scratching, which we talked about last week. Shenpa is the itch, but it's also the urge to scratch, the urge to smoke that cigarette, the urge to overeat, the urge to have one more drink, or to say something cruel, or to tell a lie. It's that almost immediate knee-jerk reaction to what's unpleasant in life. It shows up in our everyday experiences as someone saying a harsh word or something that tightens you. Instantly you're hooked. That tightness quickly spirals into blaming the person or denigrating yourself. The chain reaction of speaking or acting or obsession happens fast. Maybe if you have strong addictions, you go right for your addiction to cover up the uncomfortable feelings. The way you respond is very personal. But what gets said to you triggers you. Might not bother someone else at all, but we're talking about what touches your tender places, what causes you to shrink and withdraw from life. The fundamental, most basic Shenpa is ego itself, our attachment to identity, the image of who we think we are. When we experience our identity as being threatened, our self-absorption gets very strong, and Shenpa automatically arises. There's that spin-off, such as attachments to our possessions or to our views or our opinions. For example, someone criticizes you, your politics, your appearance, criticizes your friend, and Shenpa is right there. As soon as the words have registered, boom, it's there. We must understand Shenpa is not the thoughts or emotions that get generated. It is pre-verbal, but it does breed thoughts and emotions very quickly. And if we're attentive, we can feel it happen. If we can catch it when it first arises, when it's just a tightening, a slight pulling back, feeling of beginning to get hot under the collar, it's very workable. And when we catch it there, we can have the possibility of being curious about this urge, this impulse to do the habitual thing. And we can begin to allow that urge to pass without acting. We can feel it physically, and interestingly enough, you'll begin to see that it's never new. It has a familiar taste and a familiar smell. When you begin to feel this tightening, you feel like it's been happening forever. So this is partly what we mean by that person is uptight. Man, you need to loosen up. It's that tension we carry sometimes almost habitually without awareness in our bodies as a way of keeping the pain of life away. And the irony is that the effort to resist life and not allow it to flow freely through us is actually what suffering is. So this is the root of suffering. How do I respond? Is it something that I'm so irresistibly attracted to that I've got to move towards it? Is it something that I'm repulsed by that I need to run away? Both are Shenpa. Both have that same word of resisting the flow of energy. So we'll begin our meditation. And I'd like for this to be your focus if you choose it. If you don't choose it, you're welcome to just sit. I'll ring the gong every 5 minutes to wake you up. See if you've gotten hooked, okay? Don't worry about what you got hooked on because that's not important. That's why everything is grist for the mill. Whatever arises, you use to say, okay, there's Shenpa. How do I loosen that? Okay, oh, I'm lost in a thought. How do I come back to the present moment gently? But we can't apply the tools. It's hardest once we get in that chain of thought. We're already getting a plan of action. It's like, do you have suicidal thoughts? Yeah, I have suicidal thoughts. Do you have a plan? Well, it's one thing to have the thought. When you get to the level of having a plan for acting on what your Shenpa is telling you, you're in real trouble because generally you're going to act on that, if not now, at some point, because you're already verbally rehearsing a reaction. That's all the ways we have dialogues in our head about what we're going to say if someone says something, how we're going to counter it, all those arguments. We are so spun off from reality at that point. Very hard to get back. So today's teaching, follow the breath, stay in the present moment. When you find yourself out, see if you can catch what caused you to get outside that flow of energy. See if you can feel that suffering. Feel not the word, but feel the tightening against life as it happens in the present moment. So give yourself permission to let go of doing, to let go of thinking and planning, to let go of trying to understand the past. And just settling into the present moment. Allowing breath to become calm. Softening the abdomen to receive the breath. Body comfortable, relaxed but alert. Starting by taking refuge in the breath, which means to feel the safety of the present moment. Allowing this moment to be enough, not grasping after the next moment, not dragging in the corpse of the past. Feeling the open and spacious quality to presence. All of you present in the present. See if you can feel the dawn, the feeling tone, the quality in your body as your mind settles, your breath relaxes, the feeling of letting go that we look for, that waiting to exhale. Let go of the breath we're holding. Letting yourself hang loose, as they say in Hawaii, a very adept word. Feeling the flesh as it softens on the bone. And if you're lucky, you might feel that quality of ease, of sukha, returning as you stop the struggle. Tuning yourself to your senses. As the Buddha says, the most fundamental awareness is the awareness of our senses. Not thinking the sounds, not thinking the feeling of the temperature, the feeling of spaciousness, not thinking what you may be seeing, but simply allowing that energy that your body is interpreting as taste or touch or sound or sight is simply energy. The flow of being that sustains you, and feel the thrill as it touches your senses moment to moment. just like that interruption drew you back into the present. Notice what it did to your body. Notice the tightening, the feeling of needing to do something. And simply allow your body to go back to that baseline state, resting in non-judgmental awareness, simply attuning yourself to that quality of openness or closedness to what you're experiencing. Perhaps you'll notice that it isn't external things that interrupt the flow and trigger the Shenpa, but internal things that emerge, like the monkey mind, bringing up something that it feels is important for you to attend to. Some memory from the past that's disturbing that you feel you have to resolve. Some future plan you feel needs to be made, and recognize this as creating a disruption. Feel it as it emerges. Settle back into the flow of the sensation and the breath. As we near the end of the meditation, begin to notice how your body starts yapping at you like an impatient child or dog who's hungry, wanting your attention to be on its aches and pains and its discomfort, wanting to make you move and adjust, balanced against your desire to hold your seat comfortably. Watch the mind begin to fatigue and become harder to bring back to the present, anticipating the end, wanting relief from any physical discomfort. Watch the whole shit show unfold. With abusement, we're all doing it. No emergency. No right way or wrong way to sit. So for those of you who didn't catch it, we have a guest today, Bruce, Pat's husband. Uh, and so, Bruce, this is the time that we share our responses. We try to keep it short, try and keep it present tense, try again not to argue, but see if we can ask the open-ended kinds of questions that lead to further inquiry, probably a good way to say it. So I got reminded of something that we used to do as a practice as I was thinking about it. We used to go up to a friend's cabin in Arkansas, and she had a little stream running by it, and we would lay down in the stream. You remember that, with the water coming down through the top of our heads and running through. Very profound spiritual experience if you ever get a chance to do that, in terms of experience that flow and experience the resistance of your body and softening until you begin to feel that flow through your whole body. But she also did a bath in Costa Rica, and it was a saltwater pool, and the guy would hold her as she floated and just gently move her body. Do you remember what that was called?
Watsu.
Watsu.
It's a great spa treatment.
And so the thing there is that it really encourages your body to totally relax and let go and trust this other person. And to not anticipate where they're going, what the movement is, whether you're going to sink. See all the things that emerge as you're laying there, and just totally surrender to being supported. Until we let go of the fear, we never feel that support. So what happens in these moments, it reminds me of Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade, where he's standing up on this head of a lion, and the text is telling him to take a step off, and there's nothing but an abyss in front of him. And his dad's dying, and the cure for what's killing him is on the other side of the abyss. And so he takes the step off the lion's head, and he falls about 2 feet, and bam, there's a walkway there that you couldn't see. And in traditional Christianity, we say you fall into God. You don't work your way there. You let go of everything you know, everything you thought, every resistance in your body. Bam, you feel the support. But it doesn't happen until you let go of everything. I know what I'm going to use for text next week. Okay, so
leap and the net will appear.
Yeah, there you go. Leap and the net will appear.
I love that one.
That's very apropos to her thing about taking the leap, which is the subtitle of this book, of letting go of everything that you feel yourself wanting to use as a support to hang on to, and going, no.
I had an astrologer tell me one time in a reading that I had many times in my life come to the edge of a cliff. And, do I jump? Do I not jump? What do I do? What do I not do? And I struggled and struggled. And finally, I jumped. And instead of falling, I flew. So that's kind of a nice visual.
Nice visual, too.
Yeah.
So, questions, comments?
I would like to mention that my last name, Crochet, is French for hook.
In other words, it's genetic. You get here honestly, right?
I love that.
I haven't stood a chance since I was born.
Well, you've done a great job of undoing what you inherited, that's for sure.
Oh.
Cherry, who's with us today, was hospitalized. It's good to see her out and back with us.
So I during the meditation, letting go of planning was a word that I've never used before, and it was really pretty dramatic. It's very appropriate for what my mind does. It always is planning, and that was a real really useful for me.
And for me.
Thank you. So if you begin to read the literature, which is why I do a lot of neuroscience, what they've discovered is called the default network. And the default network is activated by not doing anything. Just like your phone, your default screen comes up when you quit using your phone, and there is my wife's Shana Punham. That was us in Hawaii with Ram Dass. But the only way to get there is to not do anything. So the minute you sit down, your mind goes to work, Bruce. And planning is exactly what it does. It's a survival tool for anticipating possible threats in the future. And then it gets tied into all kinds of other things. So it's not just you. We
all
call it the
doing
monkey
it.
mind. All of us are doing that. Yeah. So that helps me not feel guilty about it or feel special in any sort of negative way. So we just say, watch the brain do what it's designed to do. And Jack Cornfield says, it's as crazy as getting upset with your liver because it releases enzymes. That's what it's supposed to do. So that's what your brain is supposed to do. It's just like that child that wants your attention. We go, it's okay. I've got this. I know that's going on. Doesn't need my attention, and I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. So glad you caught that. Good start, Bruce.
Tommy?
I have something talking about planning. I just got off the phone, hardly made it to this. I was talking to somebody about an apartment in Paris, and we're very much in earnest this apartment hunting for a temporary residence. And we spoke to this wonderful, wonderful couple, 7 hours difference, and this was the only time we could find to talk because they have a 2-year-old, and the 2-year-old kept popping into the screen too. And so that's where my monkey mind was going, and I'm thinking, we got to grab this place. We got to grab this place. And and I had, right after I hung up from them, I had taken the aerial trip of the neighborhood because I wanted to see what was around there. And there's this gorgeous park, and it's named after a poet that we love, and it was just gorgeous. And that's where my mind was. I had to filter it somewhere, and that was what came to me, was that visual of being over that park. And when Linnell just talked about stepping off and flying, I said, let it go. And I found myself flying over the park. It was wonderful. That's, maybe it's a sign. Maybe we'll get the apartment, and maybe we won't.
But you had a nice flight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
That's
was
good.
unexpected.
That's
Totally.
good.
Love it.
Okay, Tommy?
Since you talked about letting go, it resonated with me because of a book that I'm currently reading called Aging with Wisdom. And one of the chapters in the book talks about renunciation or sannyasa, which essentially is the process of letting go of things. And for me, personally, I've experienced a lot of that with downsizing and, moving into our retirement community. But letting go of emotional and mental things, not just material things. And it evoked the notion for me of pruning your mind like you'd prune a tree. It actually makes it healthier to get rid of the stuff that, not only the stuff you don't need, but the suckers and things that are the monkey mind is taking energy out of you that you don't need, that's causing you sapping your energy. So you can prune that stuff off, get rid of it. It's not just material, but it is partly material stuff, but also it's mental and emotional stuff that you can get rid of.
Absolutely.
Good one. Good one.
And one discipline that's kind of nice to put in your toolkit is from Marcus Aurelius, who was a general, and he had a ritual every night. He'd write something down on a piece of paper and burn it. And what he would write down on the piece of paper is something that took up headspace that day that he wasn't going to carry into the next day. And again, that's the benefit of awareness, is catching that thing that I want to prune. We come up with all these plans that are great plans for self-improvement, but the problem is we're not aware enough in the moment to apply them. By the time it gets to be where it comes to our awareness, we're already hooked. We're already well into the thing, and we're going, well, here I am doing it again. So be gentle with yourselves and realize that as Eckhart Tolle says, your capacity to change is dependent on the quality of your awareness when in the present moment. I have to be present in the present moment when that impulse, that Shenpa, that desire arises, and then go before it takes a whole lot of energy and gets into a place where we can't act because we're in such arousal. So beautiful. I love that there was can't remember his name, first black minister in a major white congregation. And he said, look at what happens after a storm. Look at the branches on the ground. Most of the time, it's dead branches. And he says the storms of life that Linnell was talking about often prune us, often take away things that we didn't need anyway, and that we're better off without them draining our energy. Loss of a relationship that someone was problematic and we're always working to help them and trying to fix them. All of a sudden they move and we grieve, and then all of a sudden we go, whoa, this really feels like a lot of space available if I can make the shift and take advantage of it. So yeah, good stuff. Anybody else?
I found it.
Go ahead, Drew.
Oh, I found it interesting that when I was in the meditation, not thinking, but experiencing that state that you were talking about, where the body feels the buzz, I would say, of being alive. And as soon as I felt it, I was ready to make a comment about it, and it went away. And I thought, okay, well, I forgive you for that. And I know I can get back there again.
Yeah.
Maybe next time I can leave it alone for a few more seconds.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Great stuff. That's it. That's the practice. And that's where the meaning behind the words
that's an example.
Yeah. Is that you feel it emerge and you see the thought and you see what thought does to it, and why we say, let go of the language, close the language door, that immediate, not mediated by anything except the senses.
And referring back to Pema, the reading that I sent you about the 4 levels of mindfulness.
4 levels of mindfulness.
So just out of curiosity, what were the last 2? My mind's still going, okay, I get the body and the Vedana, but there were 2 more. I think one of them was the mind.
Yeah, the mind, I think, is next, because that's where we're going next.
Okay. So this will be future teachings that I might not need to...
may not need to understand it.
Yeah, gotcha.
So the 3rd foundation is mindfulness of mind. 4th foundation is the mindfulness of how suffering is created. So that's probably going to be the 8-fold path. Believe it or not, there are some things that are considered desirable enough to focus on.
Well, good. So
like right
we can
speech.
Look forward to.
We can look forward to those.
Okay.
Yeah, Ajna.
Could you spell that word for us that you were using for feeling tone?
Okay.
Vedana.
Vedana. V-E-D-A-N. Vedan.
I thought there was an A on the end.
No.
V-E-D-A-N, or sometimes they drop the A.
They drop the A.
V-E-D-A-N-A.
So that's the
Vedana
feeling
or
tone.
Vedana.
And then there's another one. Someone was talking. Tommy was talking about it, and he used. Was it Shunyata? Tommy?
No.
Which is emptiness.
You're muted. So. Okay. Nope, still can't hear you.
Okay. Can't hear you, Tommy.
Sannyasa.
Sanyata. Okay.
Sannyasa.
Okay. The Buddhist word for undoing Shenpa is Shenluk. And Shenluk has the quality of having the shakiness and all that's shaken out of you, being turned upside down and empty,
Oh,
which I
okay.
really like because this shake that animals do after they've been attacked, Taylor Swift actually had it right. Shake it off. That shaking off what someone just said, do the adrenaline dump. Shake off all the tension that's in your body and get loose again. So Shenlak, I like that word, Shenlak.
Sannyasa.
And Shunyata, which
We'll
is
look up that. Yeah,
empty.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
emptiness and emptying yourself. So I want to say one more thing in your mind. Jan Sol is a member of the Sangha. I haven't seen him lately. A major conservationist. Oaks Bluff Trail has
In Shreveport.
in Shreveport and did a video of his travels from Bayou Pierre in Shreveport all the way down to the Atchafalaya Basin to show kids where our water comes from, that this rain that hits Shreveport flows down into this basin and then gets into evaporation, becomes the rain that we have. He broke his neck. His dog tripped him. He had spinal fusion on C5, 6, and 7, and is looking forward to a long recovery. So keep him in your thoughts and prayers. And any of you who know him, he's just now getting ready to have phone calls and stuff. So keep him in your thoughts and prayers as well. All right, on me. 3.
Happy 4th of July.
Maybe we should do 4 rounds.
This is the 4th.
It's the 4th. Let's do
4.
it.
Let's do
And
something
wow,
new. Wow and weird.
And
weird.
the fireworks.
It's weird.
Okay.
It's
All
weird.
right. Deep breath in.
Wow.
Woohoo!
Happy 4th.
Kick it all off, you guys.
Good, everybody.
Love you all.
Love you too.
Woo!
Stay
Happy 4th.
safe.
Thank you, Bart and Linnell. This was a great session.
Thanks, Talbot.
Bye, everybody. I hope
Thank
y'all have
you.
a great 4th
Bye,
of July.
Talbot.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Tommy. Bye.
Bye.